Hello everybody and welcome to Watch Dan. Happy Thursday. It's almost the weekend. Today I'll be taking a look at the Mido Multifort 42mm watch. And before I do, we'll do a quick wrist check. Today I'm rocking my Seiko SPB155J1 that I recently reviewed. I believe this to be a good alternative to the Mido Multifort, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But without further ado, let's take a look at this watch. So it comes in this nice case. And there it is. But we're not here for the case today, are we guys? We're here for the watch. So I'm going to pull this out of here. I'm going to get this case off of here, and we will take a look at this watch. This is a 42mm watch, and it is all dial. You can see on that dial, it has kind of a Geneva stripe pattern, which is engraved in the dial and looks really nice. Kind of plays with the light up a little bit. We have painted indices that are inset into the dial. And we have applied indices at the 12, 3, 6, and 9 marks. We have Swiss made painted on the bottom, Multifort, and Mido automatic. And the one nice thing about this watch is it's a day date. So as far as legibility goes, it pretty much can't be beat. Being such a big dial with such big hands and so much real estate on there, it's definitely easy to read from a distance. And the date and day are nicely painted on there. It's not color matched, but I appreciate them using a darker color wheel with a darker dial. Along to the side here, we have basically a slab. Big old slab of polished stainless, or satin finished stainless. And the tops of the lugs are polished, as is the bezel. So you can see there's not like a whole lot going on. Kind of a simple transition from a polished bezel down to a polished top. And it drops straight down to the slab side. They give you a nice polished bevel along the bottom edge here. A little extra decoration. Goes from end to end. We have male end links, which make this watch a beast. I will get you some wrist shots later, but you can see that lug to lug is pretty big there. This watch actually fits my 7.5-inch wrist pretty well. But part of the reason it fits my wrist is because I have pretty big hands. So big hands with a huge dial like this, it kind of works. But it's not going to be for everyone. It would look ridiculous on some people, for sure. The bracelet is polished on the sides. And to be honest, guys, I haven't worn this whole watch a whole lot. And, you know, some of you are probably out there watching this because you might be considering buying this watch. I would give you a nod of approval because it's a really good watch and it does a lot really well. But I would not say that comfort is this watch's strong suit. And that's part of the reason I wore that Seiko today, is because I think it could be possibly a viable alternative to this in a similar price point, or even a little bit less, and it's quite a bit more comfortable. The links are fat, and this is a heavy watch. And you know what? I'll show you just how heavy it is. Go ahead and set this puppy down on here. We are coming in at 172.2 grams. So it's a bit of a beast. Some of that is the head of the watch, which is very sturdy and hard and really, well, obviously it's hard. It's made out of stainless steel, but it feels pretty solid. It's got a lot of weight to it. But the bracelet itself is very solid as well. Those links are fat. So all that put together, you got yourself a heavy watch. Moving on to the clasp, traditional butterfly. It's nicely polished all the way across. Well, this is one thing about this watch that I don't like, and the reason is this this whole setup down here tends to dig into my wrist. I can wear this watch for 10 minutes and take it off, and that is imprinted on my wrist. Now, some might say maybe your watch is a little too tight, but I got it exactly right for my wrist. It's the same as my Omega in terms of how it fits, but with the difference being that that butterfly clasp is just kind of jagged, honestly. Kind of jagged on the bottom, and it closes up on your wrist, and you have this whole thing down here poking into your wrist. It works great. It's very secure. It's never going to come off if you don't want it to. But I like the way Omega did it better. If you watch my Omega video, you can see what I'm talking about there. It's got a nice little Mido engraved on the bottom. So all in all, it's a good bracelet. It is affixed by pins and collars, which at this price point is another reason I might recommend a different watch. It's a fickle reason, but you know, for $900, you would hope you would get some screws, and maybe the newer one has screws, I'm not sure. But yeah, the bracelet is one thing on this watch that I think could be improved upon. The end links fit into the lugs with very little daylight. They're very snug in there. So that's you know, another sign of quality. We have a sapphire crystal on this watch. And I'll just get you a little bit more of that dial there up close so you can really see it. It's a cool pattern. You know, it's not for everyone, but I do appreciate them giving you a pattern. Each one of those indices is loomed, and I'll definitely get you some loom shots a little bit later on. A lot of dial real estate there, but a nice satin finish. All right, I'm going to pop this off the bracelet so we can take a look at that beautiful ETA movement. I will be right back. And we're back. I went ahead and took one for the team, guys, so you can see the imprint of the bracelet on my wrist. I've been wearing it for about 10 minutes, and that's what happens. So, also, I'm sorry about my hands. My daughter and I got into some tie-dye yesterday, but you know how that goes. Let's take a look at this bracelet. The center links stick up a little bit from the outer links, at least on the top. There's a good amount of room between those links, so hair pulling is not an issue. Pinching, stuff like that, that doesn't happen. There's your end links, slightly recessed on the top for better fitment. That's our bracelet. Let's take a look at this, guys. I did not show you the crown last time, but I intended to. It's got a little Mido raised on the side there. It's very nice. It's very simple, honestly, but it unwinds very well. Let you hear that. It's got a good winding to it, and this is a screw down crown. So we got 100 meters of water resistance here, and I really appreciate the screw down crown. It's very, very useful. First things first, clean this up a little bit here, and we can take a look at that beautiful 25 jewel ETA movement. Now this is the only ETA based watch that I currently own. All my other watches are Sellita based. So that's something that's kind of cool about this. Being a member of the Swatch group, you get that ETA. Authentic ETA. Now, the movement is dwarfed by the watch, so there's a lot of stainless steel around the back edge here, which means there's a lot of writing. Sapphire, Mido, screw down crown. I don't know what that little mark means down there. And then water resistant, 10 bar, 100 meters. So that's a lot of steel. It's very comfortable watch head. And one thing I didn't notice before, they give you 2 holes here. So if you want to put a strap on, oh, it's very nice. I don't think I've ever seen a company do that before. 2 holes so that if you do a strap, you have more room away from the case. Presumably. I think that's why they did that. I can't think of any other reason unless they messed it up the first time they made it and drilled the holes in the wrong spot. But you can see that slight recess, which is where that link goes in. And that's how they get very minimal movement. Clean this up just a little more, guys. Take another look here. It's a good looking watch. Polished on the bottom of the lugs there too. I'm trying to do a zoom in here a little bit. If my camera will let me, which it's finicky and it won't. But, you know, I mean, it's a very utilitarian movement, but you shouldn't have any issues with it for a very long time, if ever. Easy to regulate. And the Côte de Genève on the rotor matches the Côte de Genève on the dial, so that's kind of cool. All right, guys, I'm gonna come back in just a minute here for some loom shots, and we'll see you soon. My Mido Multifort's sitting at about 7 to 8 seconds fast per day, as you can see on this little chart that I put in here. And now, some wrist shots and loom shots. Okay, and we're back. Mido Multifort 42mm watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. And you can see, because I have large hands, actually it looks pretty good. 22mm lug width there. And I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video, I paid $925 for this watch. And that's why I said that screw pins on that bracelet are just not acceptable at that price point. You know, anything over $600, $500, $600 should have screws, in my opinion. But it does fit me well. We'll go ahead and head on into a darker room here in my house so that we can see that loom. And this watch is fully charged up right now, guys. And as you can see, we have excellent orientation. We have plenty of loom. Now, I did charge it up with a UV light. It's not gonna get anywhere near this bright, just being charged up by ambient light. Like, you know, if you're wearing it outside, it'll be bright enough to see for sure. But it just seems to me that there's quite a bit more loom on those hands than there is on those indices. And it almost seems like a different color. It's not showing up very well on this video, but it's not as bright as it might look. And it has dimmed quite a bit in the 2 minutes since I charged it up. So loom is not going to be this watch's strong suit, but it has enough of it that it's useful and it's usable. And you should be able to see it throughout the night. I have worn this watch to bed before, and it was a bit of a struggle to see, but when my eyes got adjusted, I could see okay. So, you know, I appreciate them giving us loom at all. The loom on the hands is pretty good. The loom on the indices leaves a little bit to be desired. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you think this channel is doing. And until the next one, we'll see you guys later. Bye now.